Y'all, I'm actually amazed at how many books I read this month. This month I had the most stressful midterm ever for me, and I did decently well on it, and I still managed to read a bunch of books. I am shocked. Let's talk about some books. The first book I read in March is Everything That Remains by the Minimalists. I've loved the Minimalists for years, and I've been following their work for ages, but y'all, this book was just not it. So Everything That Remains is kind of like a memoir about minimalism and how they reached this point in their journey, and, I love them. I really wanted to read this book and enjoy it, but first of all, the writing style was trying really hard to be good. Like, it was written as if they knew they were writing well, even if it wasn't. It was overly descriptive, unnecessarily in places, and I was just not about it. There were amusing moments, especially in, okay, so what it's written as is the bulk of the book is by Joshua, and then the endnotes are by Ryan, which was frustrating as fuck to have to flip back and forth between it, but most of the amusing bits for me were in Ryan's endnotes. So, it was amusing, it was not that well written, and while I still love the Minimalist's message, this book just did not do it for me. It was also very, very clear that it was written by neurotypical white men that were well-to-do, because, yes, I don't like my job, let's just make the jump and quit. It's not like I'll starve or have to drop out of university or anything. So yeah, love the Minimalists, love their message. This book was not it. I gave it 2 out of 5 stars. The next book I read this month was The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. I give it 5 out of 5 stars. Oh my god. So I have a summary, review, and reading vlog of it, which I'll link down below, but basically it's about this circus that comes about due to a bet by 2 magicians, and it's beautifully written. Erin Morgenstern's writing style is so good. Y'all, she wrote a third-person book, but manages to make it feel like it's second-person. And while I will say the plot's not that strong, and the characterization is not that great, I didn't really feel much emotional attachment to anything happening in the book, it is definitely like an atmospheric read, and that environment is so beautiful. I fell in love with it, and I feel like I have to reread it immediately so I can just grasp more of what was in the book, because I feel like it's the kind of book where every time you read it, you get more out of it. I gave The Night Circus 5 out of 5 stars. Then I read The Fever King by Victoria Lee, which I won in a giveaway from the Bookbound Society. Oh man, guys, I still can't stop talking about the romance in this book. It is such a cutesy, angsty, gay romance, y'all. Okay, so for this book, it's in the same reading vlog as The Night Circus, and I also have summary, review, and a gay quotes video, which will all be linked down below. Oh, so The Fever King is about a world where basically magic is a virus. So if you catch the virus, either you die or you get powers. You become magical. And the book focuses on Gnome, who his family is killed by the virus, and he survives as a technopath, so he can control technology, and essentially what happens is the Minister of Defense decides that they're going to go and take down the government together. But, oh man, the romance killed me, guys. Angsty gay romance with cutesy moments is my jam. Oh god, guys, there's one scene, that still kills me, and I can't get over it. And I can't talk about it because spoilers. But also, I thought the world building was great, because I am really not about dystopian sci-fis because of 2012, so having one that was actually, like, well written and fleshed out was really great. The romance is the kicker for me on this one, guys. I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars just because the beginning half of the book was pretty slow and I wasn't really sure where the plot was going, but oh man, I'm so excited for the rest of the series. Then I read the 4 main books of the Lunar Chronicles, so Cinder, Scarlet, Cress, and Winter. I made summary and review for them, linked down below. A lot of links for this video, but I did work really hard to make a whole bunch of videos this month that I'm very proud of. So essentially, in this series, what starts out is that there is a plague on Earth called Lithomosis, and the Emperor dies. So Prince Kai now has to become Emperor, and the main thing he has to work on is an alliance with Luna, which is the moon. And he, pretty much what the Queen is demanding is, hey, marry me. Which sounds great until you realize Lunars can control and manipulate people. So as long as they're in vicinity, they can, like, make you love them, or make you say things you don't want. So, you know, like, they can control a bunch of people at once, so there's no riots ever, and you can like make people say propaganda stuff. So essentially Kai's like, I really don't want to do that, so he tries to do everything to avoid it. And that's kind of the overarching plot of the series. Cinder is based on Cinderella, which these are all retellings, I don't know if I said that, but they are. And so Cinder's a retelling of Cinderella, and she is a cyborg mechanic. So she is, okay, that sounds confusing. She is a mechanic who is like 36% robot, because in this world people have figured out how to basically heal people, like put people back together by turning them into cyborgs. So she's like 36% cyborg, and she's an amazing mechanic. And so she meets Kai when he needs his android fixed, and then later on her stepmother sends her off to be a test subject to find a cure for the plague. And in this cure for the plague, the doctor finds out some things about Cinder that prove to be very interesting, and the plot takes off from there. I'm not going to say more. This was an amazing book. I thought it was a really good setup for the series. I was so impressed by all the characterization in this book. I truly adored this book. I will say though, this book was probably the most predictable out of the series and had the most unsubtle, unoriginal retelling elements out of the entire series. But for me, the characterization was some of my favorite, and the relationship is by far my favorite one in the entire series. The second book is Scarlet, which is based on Little Red Riding Hood, and I will say this is my least favorite book out of the series. I gave Cinder 4 out of 5 stars. I also gave Scarlet 4 out of 5 stars, because for this one, it was just a lot more fast-paced. But the issue is that since it was fast-paced, all the characterization I loved from the first book was kind of gone, and the book was pretty insta-lovey. So what the plot of this book is Scarlet's grandmother goes missing, and Scarlet's like, well, my grandma wouldn't just abandon me. So she goes and tries to find him, along with a man named Wolf. And it's just very insta-lovey. And I'm not at all invested in their relationship or any of the characters in this book, even throughout the rest of the series, just because the setup for them was just, it felt rushed because the pacing had sped up. The third book, Cress, is my favorite one out of the series, and Cress is a Rapunzel retelling, with Cress being a lunar who is stuck in a satellite, and essentially she is being forced by her mistress to make technology to protect Luna. And she contacts Cinder to warn Earth about what the Queen is planning, and she then is given a chance to escape with them. And so this one was my favorite book of the series. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars because it has all that characterization and development and the fast-paced all put together. And how they fit all the stories together and characters together was so well done. Again, this relationship I am not about. I'm a fan of the characters separately. I'm not a fan of them together. I also think just both characters are not super likable. Okay. So I said they weren't that likable. I stand by that. They're not the characters that everyone is going to love. There are definitely people who are going to think that both people in that relationship are super annoying, and there are times in the book where I found them annoying. So I still enjoyed reading about them and their relationship. I just think part of why I dislike this relationship is because the characters are not easy to love. Finally, I read Winter, the last book in the series, well, the last main book in the series. I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. This is probably my second favorite book in the series. Oh man, tying all those characters together and having the story all fit together was done so well. I'm stunned actually at how well they all managed to fit together. This had my favorite retelling element in it. Just Winter is based off of Snow White, and I gave this 4 out of 5 stars mainly because I'm really disappointed in the ending. It's very clean, and I'm not a huge fan of really clean endings for a dystopian fantasy sci-fi kind of novel, you know? Like, I expect it to not be clean. I don't expect everyone to be, like, paired off nicely, and that's what happened in the end, which I guess fairy tale, but still, I feel like, for me, it just kind of made the ending seem really anticlimactic. The cheesiness in the series does increase, so I think Cress is kind of where the cheesiness in relationships and stuff starts, and it definitely continues through Winter. So that's another point of why it wasn't as good as Cress for me. I think the ending and the cheesiness definitely affected how I saw this book, because the retelling and the storylines connecting together was exceptional. So if it wasn't for those 2 points, I think this probably would have been a 5-star for me as well. Then I read The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up by Marissa Kondo. I think it's Marissa. I think her method's called Con Marie, but everyone seems to be calling her Marie Kondo. I think in interviews and in Tidying Up she's pronounced her name Marissa. But this book does get me to think a bit more deeply about, like, what I bring into my life and stuff, but it's nothing mind-blowing. Like, it's not exceptionally, like, powerful or anything. And I had a bit of a difficult time reading this book because the tone is really strange. Like, it's almost arrogant in the way she writes, and there's a lot of anecdotal evidence as to, oh, this will work for sure, but I'm like, tidying equals losing weight? Just because you clean your room doesn't mean you're going to lose weight, and I feel like that could be pretty hurtful. So I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars, just because concept, fine, execution, not really. Almost done here. I read Truly Devious by Maureen Johnson, and it's reflecting like crazy because it's a library book. We're going to keep it there. I heard a lot of good things about this from Peter Likes Books and Emma Books, and unfortunately, this is not it for me. Truly Devious is about a girl named Stevie who's accepted to Ellingham Academy, which is a school that was started by some rich dude for geniuses, essentially. And she's accepted primarily because she wants to be a detective, and she's really, really interested in the Ellingham Academy case, which is a case where the headmaster's wife and daughter and another student of the academy went missing, and their bodies reappeared days later. The only evidence they have is a letter signed Truly Devious, the bodies, and some marked bills that the headmaster paid in ransom. And essentially, the person who was accused of the murders, Stevie, and a lot of people do not believe, is the actual murderer. And so she really, really wants to solve this case. She knows everything about it. And when she gets to the school, Truly Devious seems to strike again. So that's the plot of the book that I forgot again because I cannot do wrap-ups. I give it 3 out of 5 stars. While I was reading it, I thought it was great. Because it's always filled with anticipation, it kept me thinking, and I enjoyed the plot. So when I was reading it, I thought it was great. Getting through it afterwards, it wasn't that great. So one of the first things I was focused on was that there was a character they introduced with they/them pronouns, and the main character, Stevie, so the they/them character is very, very minor, to the point where I don't remember their name. But Stevie is like, cool, they/them, got it. And then when she sees them with her best friend at the time, because they're in a relationship, Stevie thinks of them, I don't remember their name, but she thinks of them as a her. And that was one thing that, like, stuck out in my mind. Very minor character. This happened once. They refer to them by their name throughout the rest of the book, I'm assuming to avoid that situation, but it happened. And since I just texted my friend Jess about, oh my god, there's a non-binary character, oh my god, read it, and then I was like, shit, never mind, they misgendered them. Maybe don't do this. So, you know, that was a downer. There's also a couple characters introduced at the beginning. There's a girl in the hijab and a girl in the wheelchair, and they're both never mentioned again. Diversity for diversity's sake. We love it. So that was kind of off-putting, but also, there's a rant review coming this week, but Stevie is supposed to know everything about this case. She's supposed to be someone who's really, really, really into detective stuff. Girl, she's the kind of girl who locked herself in her room so that her testimony won't be tainted. But you know, it's fine going into a classmate's room and tainting their evidence. So, you know, there's stuff like that. It's like, you want to use anecdotal evidence as proof. Like, I was just so upset at this book. Also, I did not connect with any of the characters. I hate them in a relationship. Again, rant review is coming. I realize I did not explain what this book is about, but I'm just too angry to even think about that right now. So, just wait for the rant review on this one, because this was not it. I read Invisible No More by Andrea J. Ritchie. This is a book from my sociology class on gender, crime, and justice. And I didn't rate it on Goodreads, I just put it as read because I don't know how to rate it. I don't read a lot of nonfiction, and it's just, I can't say it was an enjoyable book. It's not fun to read, you know, because it's focused on police brutality against women and women of color, and it's just not fun to read, but it is very powerful. It brings up a lot of important things to think about, and overall, I think it's a great book to read. I just don't know how to rate books because I tend to rate them subjectively on how much I enjoyed reading them, and I did not enjoy the reading experience for this book because it's talking about police brutality against women. So, I don't know how to rate this, but I did read this over the course of 3 months for a class, but I read it. Finally, I reread Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. I first read this when I was 10, and then I never read it again. So I really wanted to see the difference from reading it when I was 10 to reading it now, because I remember really loving it as a kid, and then I wasn't sure like how I'd feel about it now. Adored it. I just put up my summary and review for this. I love the romance in here. It's a classic. I'm I love Elizabeth and Darcy so much, and I think the characterization was wonderful. I love the relationships in this book, just in general, familial and everything. Mr. Bennet, I forgot how much I loved Mr. Bennet. Oh my god, Mr. Bennet is like one of my all-time favorite characters, okay, and I forgot about it. But yeah, anyway, just overall, really enjoyable read. It's a classic for a reason. Romance is beautiful, characterization is great. Love me some Pride and Prejudice. I give it 5 out of 5 stars. That was everything I read in March. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope it's a bit better than most of my wrap-ups, because I tend to forget to describe books in them, so I remember this time. Hopefully it made this better. Maybe it was just kind of incoherent. And I will see you sometime. Goodbye.